Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are super excited to be live with you today. And as you're joining everyone, please go ahead and put your name and location in the chat. We would love to see where you are zooming in from today, all around the world. And I am Jocelyn Starfeather, and I am truly honored to be here with Patricia Awyan Lehman. Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Jocelyn.
With Stephen Mailer. Hi, Stephen.
Salam alaikum to everyone who's listening.
Wonderful. And yeah, we have such a fun presentation to share with you today and lots of great conversations. We're here to answer any questions that you might have about Egypt or about our upcoming tour. And for those who are just curious and maybe not interested in the tour yet, we are going to take you on a virtual slideshow of these amazing temples and pyramids that we visit when we go. So you'll get to experience it virtually, whether you can come with us live or not. And for those who are interested in our October Egypt tour that Patricia and Stephen and I will be guiding, that will be October 21st to November 3rd. We are delighted to invite you to join us there in person and experience all of this in person. So choose the adventure that's right for you. Either way, you will experience a lot of Egypt in our call today. So welcome Fallon in North Carolina. Welcome Vicky in Belgium. Natalie in Manchester, England. Erin in Michigan. Welcome, I can't see your name. Oh, Janice from Alberta, Canada. Welcome Lori in Rhode Island. Janine in Oakland, California. Jane in California. Barbara in Scotland. Faye in Finland. And many, 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 many more. Welcome, everybody. We are just so excited to have you with us today. So huge welcome, big hugs. And as we begin, we want to really honor the teacher of both Patricia and Stephen and this amazing lineage of wisdom that we are bringing through in this tour that will be happening in October. And this is the lineage of Abd'el Hakim Awyan. And Stephen or Patricia, would either of you want to say anything in memory of Hakim, in honor of him beginning today?
Well, I'll go ahead and start because I know Stephen has a lot to say. Thank you again, Jocelyn, for inviting us. So honored to be here. Yeah, Hakeem, wow. I mean, I'm living in Egypt and have been living in Egypt for going on 17 years. It'll be almost 17 years, um, actually, by the time the tour begins. And Stephen loves to point this out, that tour will be exactly 20 years from my first tour of Egypt. And he remembers that I knew since I was a child, but I knew that I was going to be living here one day. But the impetus for me coming, I always knew I was going to come. When the time came, I heard the voice and it said, "You got to go to Egypt." I knew I had to be in a group with like-minded souls. And so I Googled, I Googled Egypt tour inside the pyramids, a couple of key phrases, and this tour came up that was called the Star Elders Tour. And it featured Stephen Mailer as the speaker and host. And Hakeem was going to be lecturing on that tour. And it was just, that was it. I did the research, I bought the books, I read Stephen's books, had some amazing experiences just reading the books. I mean, I could envision Hakeem before I saw a picture of him. I could see the village. I could see everything. It was just sort of, I just know it was my destiny to be on that tour and to be introduced to this amazing man and his legacy of knowledge and wisdom. He was just, we'll talk a lot about Hakeem on the tour, but he was so unassuming and so powerful, yet so gentle and compassionate. And, you could just see all of his emotions in his eyes, and he would tease you with information. He would wait for you to ask the question, and it was a huge lesson for me. He could talk about the weather and the coffee and anything until you actually said, can you tell me a little more about this? And then the flood of information would come out and he would address, and I watched him, I sat with him. I mean, I came back. We actually had a reunion tour, and Hakeem came on the entire tour. And then I came back again the next year. and spent time sitting with him. He actually invited me to come and stay in the village, and I stayed for about 10 to 12 days and sat with him every morning. And I feel so blessed for that experience. But I would watch him answer the same questions to people that would come up to him on the street while I was having coffee with him. And the same question. And when they would come up and ask, he answered it differently. And I watched him and I knew he was answering it according to their level of knowing. He didn't try and show off his knowledge. He truly wanted, this is the true master, by the way. And I'll say right now, that's not me. I just want everybody to know what I've experienced and what I've learned over the years. But Hakim just wanted each person to understand at the level they were at in those moments. And that really struck me. And also how he would ask me questions, how he would answer questions, or how he would tease me into seeing a much deeper and greater picture. You had to take your time, and he would give you a few words. And if you were listening, you got a depth of a message that, it stayed with me my entire life. So as when I say I was blessed to meet him, I was so blessed to meet this amazing man who is still with me today. So yeah, there's so many stories I know we all have to share. That's him.
Beautiful photograph. Beautiful
It is
photograph.
wonderful.
That's him in his
Um,
glory.
Yes, and that smile. And when he was truly happy, I can remember you would say something and he'd be delighted and he'd just clap his hands. And it was just so joyful and genuine and authentic. But this man knew so much. And I do want to add quickly that as I study, and I've been studying for 17 years now, nonstop, reading white papers, studying the symbols, being inside the structures. I have been so blessed to have lived here. I see things and I say, that's where Hakim got that. Or it's like, even today, I'll see something on the wall of some chamber and it'll be like, now I know why he said that. So this man learned. I mean, he had degrees. I know Stephen knows everything about his past, degrees in both archaeology and Egyptology. And he said the most important thing was he had to do was to forget everything he learned in university, um, because it didn't address what he saw and recognized by opening his own senses. So it was he used a beautiful patterning of both using the intellect and the mind, left brain consciousness and right brain consciousness, intuition, to come and open his senses to actually see what's out there and not just be told that this was a place for mummification. And you'd look at it and you'd be like, no, this is so much more. Or that this was built 3,000 years ago. And you look at these megalithic blocks that we know they couldn't carry 3,000 years ago. And that's what I mean by opening your senses, not just listening and being told and absorbing by our five limited senses. He taught me to open all of my senses and to see beyond what my eyes and ears were seeing, and to utilize both sides of my brain, if you will. And that's something we will talk about a lot on the tour, is the consciousness of the ancients. But I'll stop now and I'm going to turn it over to Stephen.
Well, I mean, as Hakim would sometimes say about me, and Patricia covered the whole subject really. Um, it will be in November of this year, 33 years since I first came to Egypt and met him. And as I've said, and I'm not going to repeat it now because we have limited time, the Sphinx has been the guide all my life. She's the one that told me that he was to be my teacher and that I would be working with him. And as Patricia said, I treasured every second I spent with him. I mean, he came to Colorado in 2006, spent 3 weeks with me here. From morning till we'd wake up till at night when he'd want to go to sleep, we talked and talked and talked. There was not a subject that was taboo to him. And this will be something I will discuss in detail with our group in Egypt. One of his key phrases was, there is no such thing as a bad question. He would say, the worst question is the one that is not asked. So I don't want anybody to say, well, this may sound stupid, but there's no such thing as a stupid question. There's an uninformed question. So we will cover every subject that people want to hear. You want to hear about aliens? We'll talk about aliens. You want to hear about Atlantis? We'll talk about Atlantis, because he covered every subject, and sexuality of the Cometians, whatever people want to know, psychedelics, whatever. We will go into those subjects, because there was not a subject that he could not converse on. There's so many things I could say. He was the greatest linguist, philologist, understander of the origin of languages of anyone I've ever met in my life. Yes, he was academically trained, had dual degrees in archaeology and Egyptology, did graduate work in archaeology in Leiden, in the Netherlands in the 60s. But as he would say, and as Patricia has said often in discussion, he told her we have to get beyond books. And I say that even though we hawk my books, but because he blessed my books, but my books are only introductions to what he would teach. The idea is, as Patricia said, and we will talk about utilizing both sides of the brain, that we will teach people to the left brain, which only sees 2% of what is, and the right brain, which sees the other 98%. Thank you, Dr. Kareem. That is exactly what we will deal, to have people have the experience at the sites. That's the basic thing he wanted people to come away with. Yes, you could say blah, 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 blah about what's on the walls, but people will experience the neteru, which you'll talk about, Jocelyn, themselves, to understand the way and come along with opening centers. And as I say, I did 20 tours from 2018 to 1998 to 2018. I did tours all through difficult times in Egypt, which we'll talk about, and did tours with Patricia from 2013 to 2018. And of all the people that came to Egypt with me, hundreds, there's maybe a handful who really got it. But I go back to my journals, because I journal when I'm in Egypt. That's the only place I've ever journaled. I go back to the journal of 2005, and many times in the journal, I'm saying, yes, Patricia gets it. Yes, Patricia gets it. So, of all the people who came with me to Egypt, Patricia got it the most. Jocelyn, you will be second. But so that's why it's an honor for me to be doing the tour with you two great ladies, because we all will teach from a different perspective, add our own flavor to the teachings, but it is basically what he taught us, and that is to understand a level of consciousness that's involved with what we're going to talk about, and we'll share that. And again, I don't want to go. My favorite quote of Dr. Kareem, when he was giving his beautiful lecture in Patricia's conference that she did, in which you were a featured speaker, Jocelyn, and our dear friends Brian Foster and Susan Moore. He would start to go to talk about biogeometry, his favorite subject, and he'd say, I can't go in there, because if I go in there, I'll never come out. So it's the same with me. If I start talking chematology, if I start talking about Hakim, I'll never come out. So we'll stop it there, but just to say that I can promise everyone who comes with us, they will not be the same person when they come home. Everyone who comes to Egypt with you, with all the tours that you're going to do, with tours that Patricia has done, you're a changed person just by experiencing the sights in Egypt.
Absolutely.
Here, here.
Oh, thank you both so much for your shares in honor of Hakim. And it is such a joy and an honor to be immersed in the wisdom from both of you and through that lineage of Hakim. Just truly, truly amazing. And so I will share my screen now with some slides for today, to take you all on a virtual tour. And as I said before we started recording, Patricia and Stephen, feel free to jump in at any time if you want to add something about any of these places. And I don't even have slides for all the places that will go, because there are just so many, so many more, but I have a lot of them on here. So I hope that I will give all of you a sense of the magic of Egypt as you see these slides. And even this background image here is one of the hallways in Edfu Temple. It really does look like that. It really is. It really does look that magical. And there are these incredible processional staircases in Dendera Temple and in Edfu Temple, where they would hold the procession, and the priests and priestesses would be moving and singing and playing their instruments as they moved to the rooftop for the
Circular.
celebrations and the ceremonies. And a circular, yes, that go circular around and through the temple. So this is just one first glimpse. And, as Stephen was saying, you will always be changed by your time in Egypt. And I've been there now 6 times, and I am always changed every single time I go. And it's just incredible. And so this is really this place where we remember who we really are. We remember our true power, and we see in the stones and in the hieroglyphs and in the structures as we experience them, also in the energy of the land, that which we today in a modern society, we might be told this is impossible, but we go there in Egypt and we see it right in front of our eyes. We see these incredible structures that they built. We see the incredible understanding of consciousness and life and death and rebirth that they had. And the way that this changes you, that you just soak it in, you're just immersed in it, the frequency comes in, you connect with the stones of the temples, and these incredible shifts and changes occur within you. So this is our journey today, and in every trip to Egypt, to remember our true and our mythic origins. And here's a little banner for the tour. For those who are interested, it will be from October 21st to November 3rd. I will post the link to join, which you can see right there at the bottom left, but I will post that in the chat when I get done with this presentation for those who are interested to see more details. But these slides that I'm going to share are a lot of our itinerary, a lot of where we're going to go. So you'll get an understanding there. And this is just a little tagline, you know, that if we want to write a new future, we must deeply understand our past and where we have come from in order to comprehend the possibilities for where we can go next. And this also is what we are doing when we journey and travel to Egypt. And Egypt helps us do this in the most incredible ways. This is a beautiful image from Abydos Temple, one of my favorite hieroglyphic images in all the temples. And the way the light shines in Abydos, right? You can see this magic, this alchemical magic that's happening here. So, so beautiful with Thoth. And this is Seti I in the image here, receiving the Ankh from Thoth. So with the tours, we begin on the Giza Plateau. And here are some images from there. This is the group from the tour that I just held there in April 2025. Such an amazing group that came together. This was one of our very first days, and the adventure is just beginning at this point. So we begin on the plateau. Now, I'm not going to say too many words as I go through here. I just really want you to receive the power of the images. These images of the pyramids, the temples, the hieroglyphs, they are transmissions. So allow yourself to receive the transmissions, to receive this imagery, and feel that remembrance rising up within you.
And just to say, I'm very pleased that Patricia allowed me to set up the itinerary, along tweaking it the way she knows what can be done and what can't be done. But this is important because this is the way Hakim would do it. Start on the Giza Plateau and end on the Giza Plateau.
Yes, yes. Okay, here's another image of the Giza Plateau at sunset. And the camels. This was a really cool picture I got one time of the camels next to you. This is the third pyramid. This is Menkaure. It was just so cool. The camels are really, really special. This was a smiling camel that
Yes,
smiled.
he's smiling because of you. He knows your
Yeah.
image.
We were both smiling in that picture. And there's more. As I said, I didn't include everything because we have some surprises for you. We have some really cool things we're going to do also in the Cairo area before we head to Luxor. But for now, we'll go to Luxor in the slideshow here. And this is beautiful Luxor Temple at sunset, which we will visit at sunset time. We will explore. We will probably see the moon come out and see the moon from inside the temple, which is really incredible. So this is one of these incredible temples that we will visit, and there are many more. Here is Abydos. This is the temple where we find 7 chapels. And so this is a place where many different Neteru are honored, but especially the Chapel of Osiris. is very powerful, very, very moving. And Osiris is
We will show evidence that this temple is much older than has been reported.
fantastic.
And the site itself is ancient.
Yes.
Pre-dynastic.
Yes, yes. And here are some images from inside Abydos Temple. You can begin to feel the power of it with the columns here in the first hall that we enter. And the pharaoh saying the oath of Ma'at here. That's one beautiful thing that we'll tell you more about when we're there. Beautiful images here from inside Abydos. And as I said, let these be a transmission for you. This is the lovely Seshet here with the high priest by her side. She is scribing, and they're both wearing the leopard skin robes, as you can see from the paws and the tail of the leopards here.
And she
Another
wears the 7-pointed lotus, which is important because 7 is a key mystical number.
Mhm. Yes, yes, beautiful. And right next to Abydos Temple is the Osirian. And we will go into the Osirian. We have a private visit there. We will have a beautiful experience there. And you can see that this is very different than the temple nearby. This is even older. How much older? Stephen and Patricia?
Hakim would say 50,000 years, at least over 12,000 years.
Yeah.
What makes this temple so exciting is underneath it is a pocket of water. They call it ancestral water. And this has been studied. We know it's there. And this is water that doesn't move. It's always been there. And this is why Abydos is the site where everybody had to pilgrimage to, or was urged to pilgrimage to, because it was the place of the ancestors who built the megalithic structures and left that legacy of knowing and wisdom, even back in those times, thousands of years ago. So yeah, this site is incredibly powerful for this reason and more. And again, things we'll talk about during the tour, but this site in particular holds an incredible power for moving between fields of energy. It's a gateway.
Mhm.
Portal. And
It's a
to
portal,
let
yeah.
everybody know, I've been waiting 33 years get into the back rooms, which the both of you have been, because they only now, just in recent years, have allowed groups to go into the back rooms. And when I went with my wife in 2023, they would not let us get in there. You had to be in a group. So it's going to be very exciting that you both are going to be showing me things that I've never seen before.
Amazing, amazing. And just for everybody seeing this, as far as the age of this, you can see the ground level. There are people standing up here. This is the ground level of Abydos Temple up here, which is already quite ancient. And this is what, 30, 40, 50 feet
50
lower,
feet, 50 feet.
50 feet lower, right?
Yeah.
And sediment builds up over the millennia. So you can just
Right.
imagine how much time has passed
Right.
between.
This happens to be just a general rule in archaeology. If something is at a lower level, then it's older. And if it's much deeper, then it's way older. So to say that this temple could be dynastic is absurd.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
And
Hakim,
oh,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
Go
When
ahead.
Hakim was asked once how old it was, he got that twinkle in his eye and he said, "You can't judge time the same way over eons." In other words, we perceive time differently. Time and space are illusions. He said, "You judge the age of these structures by how many layers of silt you can count." In other words, floods of the annual floods of the Nile. And
Exactly.
that's when he said, maybe 50,000 years.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He'd always would put estimates, never exact numbers. He never dealt
yeah,
with exact numbers. The oral indigenous wisdom keepers never talk in
you
exact numbers.
cannot.
If you
No,
listen to the Aboriginal elders in Australia, they use an expression something as old, older, and oldest. They never put
yep,
numbers in it.
Hmm.
Exactly.
that's right. Yep,
He would just throw numbers out if people needed numbers, but they were just estimates.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. And the image on the right here is an image from the Book of Gates, which is not, but this was not carved at the same time as the Osirian was built. This was carved much, much later, around 1200 BC. But it is this beautiful image reflecting the energy of the Osirian, which is the eternal rebirth of the soul. And so you can see here, this is the solar bark with the sun being held by the Kepler beetle, being raised up out of the nothingness, out of the noon. And this is noon here, lifting it up, right? So we rise again after every change of cycle, we rise again, life returns. And that is one of the one of the many themes depicted in that beautiful image right there.
Cycles upon cycles upon cycles, as Patricia would say.
Yes. Okay, so that's Abydos and the Osirian. And there, next we go to Dendera Temple, a very, very special place. You can see the beautiful columns here with the Hathor face on each of four sides facing the four cardinal directions. This beautiful, beautiful space where the secrets of all time and space are held, as Patricia says, and as she will be sharing with us when we're there.
This is a great temple for you, Jocelyn, because this and Esna and even at Abydos show a lot of astrology. And this is
Yes.
your wheelhouse, and this is where you'll take over.
I love it, and I can't wait. And here is just the beginning of what we'll see inside Dendera Temple. And this is showing the age of Cancer, the first time, Zep Tepi, where we emerged out of the time of the last cataclysm, out of the age of the Great Flood, and life begins anew. And we have this beautiful serpent here rising up out of the lotus flower, representing life starting anew once again. We have the star Sirius, Isis, Hathor, and we have Orion, the constellation Orion, which is also Osiris right here. There's much more to say, and this whole panel continues on. The whole ceiling is just beyond belief. So you will get to experience that when we're there.
Yes. And if you go in there, you'll never come out now. So
Yeah, you'll never want to come out, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything else about the ceiling of Dendera? To Patricia, I know there's you could go on for hours.
Oh, I could go on for hours.
Okay.
But I will add that we're looking at the day cycle, the annual cycle, and the great year cycle. And the time this ceiling was placed, everything fit. It was in perfection that everything begins in Cancer coming out of Leo. And what you're looking at is just so incredible, down to the very details. And just as a little tease, if you look at Orion's, or it's Sa, which was Orion, Osiris, taking that first step, his legs form the 23.5-degree angle of falling out of balance. This is the beginning of the first breath of form. And the same pattern is shown upstairs in a different way on the Dendera zodiac. So I'll stop there, but that's just a tip of the iceberg to the knowledge that's withheld inside this temple.
Yes.
Or
And
held by him.
for me, people will see me change in there because it's the sweet touch of the feminine, which is the energy there. And I'm normally pretty blah 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 and talk fast, but in Dendara, I will slow down and be very calm and peaceful because the sacred feminine is the energy of that temple, which was Hathor.
Yes, and this very special place, which I know it's very special to you, Stephen.
Yes,
Chapel of Newt.
yes, that's where we can actually do a great meditation if we have the temple to ourselves.
Yes, amazing. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
So this image here, everybody, again, there are always so many layers of meaning, but you will see the sun being eaten by the great goddess Nut, and she takes it in every day at dusk, at sunset, and the sun travels through her body throughout the night, and she births the sun anew once again in the morning. At dawn, you can see all of these rays of light, and you can see Hathor here, right, as part of what's being birthed, the womb herself being birthed into the light of day.
Yes.
And there is So much more encoded here, but that's
Yeah,
It is.
it's incredible.
that is just such a magnificent image. Okay, so moving on, we will then visit Karnak Temple. And this is a place that we always look forward to as well. This is Karnak Temple. This photo is on the winter solstice when the sun rises in the center of this this aisle here. And I know Patricia has been there many times. I have not been, but that's on my high on my.
One day we'll get you there.
I will definitely see that someday. Do you want to say anything about that, Patricia?
Well, it's the experience of being there. They align these temples to these, to these specific moments because they're powerful and they're also incredibly symbolic of huge events in the cycles. But what's happening here, this is the winter solstice, and the solstice is a moment of silence before the next cycle. So that's why it's called solstice, the silent sun. It's the 3 days before Christmas. In Egypt, we'd say Horusmas, but that's that's. But what's really happening is the days, in fall, the days get shorter and shorter until this moment, these 3 days, and then there's 3 days where there's no change, and then suddenly the days begin to get longer and longer until the summer solstice, and it's flipped on either side, on either hemisphere. But when you're standing there and that sun rises at dawn, it's almost like it takes you back to the time when the people in the temple were so knowledgeable about what all of this meant, and that sun hits your face. And in all of the temples, like at Dendera, the temple of Hathor, and at Edfu and at Philae, they would bring a golden image of the neter, the force of nature, to come out on the roof or somewhere within the temple, and it wait for those first rays at dawn to awaken that force of nature. And in this case, it would have been Horus. This is the great awakening of the next cycle. But it was speaking, I believe, on a great year cycle, the cycle of the precession of the equinoxes, of this moment in time. We're approaching that pause when we begin a brand new cycle of ascending consciousness. So to me, it's one of the most powerful moments. And when you're there, it changes you. And I'll stop there.
It's beautiful.
Yes, and we receive this incredible energy of Karnak Temple and those alignments, even when it's not the solstice, of course, especially on the solstice, but it's also just such an amazing place.
Always. You're absolutely right, Jocelyn.
It's the ram.
This is the rams that we see as we're entering Karnak Temple, interestingly indicative of the age of Aries. We'll talk about those great ages when we're there. These are some of the really massive columns in Karnak Temple. They're just incredible to see. The whole temple in Karnak is just sprawling. It's very, very large, covers a huge area of land.
65 major columns.
Yeah, amazing. So these are, you can see how big they are. These are the people, Incredible.
Yep.
And this is a special place in Karnak where the Kepler beetle is the symbol of the rebirth into the light and our rebirth. And there's a very special ritual that you can do here of walking 7 times around this Kepler beetle to set an intention and to let it be received by this birthing energy of the Kepler beetle. So
And
that's
counterclockwise, like you learned from
Yes.
the Maya when you were in Tikal. Counterclockwise.
Yes, that is the movement of Mother Earth. Yes. Beautiful. And then also in Karnak Temple, have our
She is.
powerful private visit with
She
Mama.
is.
Yes. And this is a very sacred moment that we
And
will share.
again, I can tell so many stories, but we'll save it. But I've seen grown men, 6'4", 350 pounds, break down and cry like a baby when they see her. Sekhmet. the ultimate feminine expression of power, the unconditional love of mother. To the ancient Cometians, the most powerful force in the universe. They saw the universe as being feminine, not masculine and feminine, being feminine. And we're all birthed from the great mother. And she represents that because they saw the lion, the lioness, as being a great mother who would fight to the death to protect her cubs. And that's Sekhmet.
I'd like to add quickly too that I'm going to point out she's alive. If you look into her eyes, she is connecting with you, and she does hold a message for each and every one of us. Whether
Absolutely.
you get it from her directly, from, you can hear it, you can feel it. Some people are visual. She is connecting with you. And I'll point out that this is because of the incredible craftsmanship of these more right brain focused people, these ancient culture that, we're using their creative side of their brain, intuitive side that understood that we were all connected. And when they created in perfection. So she's projecting, she holds within her the energy of the force of nature, which she represents. She is the great mother. And this is why people break down and cry. This last winter solstice, I actually had moments alone. I paid a little extra baksheesh and I went in and had time alone, and she had me in tears.
She
Um,
does me all the time.
Powerful, powerful moments.
And
And
sometimes, as it said, sometimes people will wake up 6 months later after the
yes,
tour and she'll have a
yes,
message for them in the middle of the night.
yes. She's never, once you make that connection, she's always with you.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
She told me years ago that Hakim is with her all the time. It's incredible. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And that statue itself, if people need the left brain, is green diorite, which is very rare stone. The statue itself may be the oldest, except for the Sphinx, the oldest extant statue that exists in Egypt. She's way before the dynasties. This statue was brought from a far distant place to be in this area because this area is sacred to her. But the statue is very, very old.
Mhm. And this statue is still in the same place that it was originally placed in the
Yeah.
ancient times. And that's part of the power that we feel from her as well.
It's the place. You're right, Jocelyn. It's the place that's important. So what's happening in the energy of the earth is why they would place the structures and align the structures and place the statues, specific parts of the temple. Where she's standing is a portal.
Exactly. That's why she's in a different area than the main temple of Karnak. And her own with Ptah and with his son Nefertum, they are in a special place because, again, as you said, Patricia, Hakim would say, the site dictates what's there, not the other way around. The
Her
site
net, her het.
dictates.
Exactly. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, thank you both so much for these insights. And I know everybody seeing her here, Sekhmet right here, can feel
I
the
get
power
I get goosebumps every time I see her.
across all time and space. We can feel her. Yeah. Yes. 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 So this is a profound experience we will have with Sekhmet there in her chapel at Karnak Temple. And here is one of the next places we'll visit. One of my favorites because it is very astrological. Esna Temple. This is dedicated to the Neteru, Neith, and Khnum, who set creation into being. And the sky is the great potter's wheel of Khnum that we are all eternally spinning out of and back into and out of again as we come into form and change form over the vast spans of creation. And so this is really special because this ceiling has just recently, just within the past few years, been restored.
Exactly.
Just absolutely incredible. This, for example, is showing the waxing and waning of the moon. So we start at the new moon here. You can see the top left. And as the moon is waxing, there's a different being representing each day of the 28 days of the lunar cycle. And as it's waxing, you can see its eye is opening, right? This eye in the sky is opening. until it gets to the full moon. And then we have the full moon, and then we start the waning cycle. So from the full moon, then the eye slowly closes and we return to the new moon. And the lunar cycle is just one of many, many, many cycles reflected on the ceiling of this incredible temple with these just gorgeous hieroglyphic illustrations. So this is really something to see and experience. It's just really so amazing. And this year when we went in April, I got to see the, as you're walking in the left-hand side, because that side they were still working on when I was there last year. But now the whole ceiling is available to see, and they're working on the outside. Actually, when we were there in April, they were restoring the outside walls of the temple.
So
And this is
again, you're going to be showing me things I have not seen before, which is great.
You're gonna love it. This is an interesting temple because we only have the hypostyle hall. The rest of the temple has been destroyed or is no longer there. But what an incredible hypostyle hall to still have. And you can see that much of it is still in beautiful color, which is very rare to find. Just absolutely gorgeous. The tops of the columns are each decorated differently. And you can see the detail there is just really beautiful. And then the whole ceiling is
The Greek style of Corinthian columns.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Ptolemaic.
There are stories on the columns that speak about creation. And when you read them, and I think I sent you the translations, Jocelyn, it is phenomenal how close they come to Plato's story of Atlantis, and creation. And they had said at one time that Plato got it from, or Plato said he got it from the columns in Egypt, on the temples in Egypt. And they said, oh, no, it's, they went to Edfu and said, no, it's not here. I believe it was found here, in Esna, that he might have been there himself at Esna, and or was told about the translations of these amazing columns. This temple is divine. They all are, but yes.
spectacular. So yeah, you can see everybody, the lines of text here on the columns, right? And this is another incredible thing about Egypt, is that every temple is a text or multiple texts. These are not just pictures. This is deep ancient information that was carried forward from the older version of this temple, that was carried forward from the one before that. So over time, they have pulled this very, very ancient wisdom forward, and we can literally go there and read it and be, immersed in it. Even if you're not reading the hieroglyphs, you're being immersed in that wisdom just by standing in the temple.
These are the halls of records.
Ah.
Every structure, all of the symbolism, all of the temples, the pyramids are halls of records. Within, the geometry, within the symbolism, with every aspect, they're telling us who we are and where we came from.
But then Hakim would say, we are the halls of records.
Well, he'd point right here.
But it's true. The stones speak, and the stones will speak to those who want to listen.
Yeah. Now, again, I'm skipping over a couple of temples because there are so many, and so I wanted to get to Philae, so here we are. But just know that there's even more than what you're seeing here. So this is beautiful Philae temple, which we approach by boat. We take a boat from a place in Aswan, and you drive and slowly approach the temple, and then slowly go around this side of the temple, and it's just breathtaking to see the temple kind of opening up before you as you see it from the water. So this is part of the approach to Philae. And this is the beautiful temple dedicated to Isis, or Iset. And it is an incredibly powerful place. And it was moved. This temple was flooded. It was in the middle of the Nile River after they built the high dam in Aswan, and it was completely flooded. So they had to move it block by block, which they did. And it is on higher ground now, and we can visit it and walk through it. This is a beautiful image of the ceremonial processions, which I mentioned toward the beginning, with these beautiful priestesses playing the frame drums. And you also see other images of them playing the sistrums. and they would have been carrying the sacred objects and singing the sacred songs. You can just really get a feel for the beauty of it as you see some of this imagery in Philae. And here's some of the other imagery of Philae. We see Isis and Osiris here. And this is a picture of the inner sanctum, surprisingly with no one in it. I don't know. I must have gotten that 2021. That never happened before.
Yeah. I think so.
Had to be. And this is an image, actually, there's more here on this side. The birth of Horus is here. This is one of the most sacred places in this temple. And we have this beautiful image of the serpentine energy, the life force of creation rising up. And you will see all of this when you visit Philae.
And the granite altars, if okay, you went
Oh,
back.
go
The
back.
granite altars there, and in most of the temples are pre-dynastic that have been taken from much older temples and brought in there because that's the cyanite granite, and that's a symbol of what we'll talk about. Three stones that we look at: the cyanite granite, diorite, and travertine, which is mistakenly called alabaster, are signs of pre-dynastic ancient Kemet that were used again as we talk about the Cometians, or really saying Egyptians, we're calling them by their proper term, were the most conservative of people. They threw nothing away. As you have mentioned, they built new temples over temples, et cetera, et cetera. They would take stones from an old temple, put it in the foundation of a new temple as a seed, because they believed they were living organisms to grow. So you're going to see things that we're going to point out that are pre-dynastic in the later dynastic temples and the altars of those, because they loved the granite altars with the power of the cyanite granite full of quartz crystal.
Yes. Yes, this is such a powerful stone here.
And we can do a meditation in there. We always used to try. We have a code that we used if we're going to get disturbed. But if we can all gather around that altar and not be disturbed by any other group if we're there, inshallah, then we can do a very, very nice meditation. Everybody
Yes.
puts their crystals on the altar.
Yes, yes, yes. We will do that. And here's a
Ooh.
beautiful view from where we will have lunch after we visit Philae, which is on the island of Biga at a beautiful Nubian restaurant. And you can see the amazing view of the temple. Here it is with roses in the foreground and beautiful temple of Philae in the background there.
And great Nubian food.
Yeah.
Amazing food. Amazing food all throughout the tour. And this
Yeah.
is one of the highlights of all that amazing food for sure.
Yes.
And then, as Stephen said, back to the Giza Plateau we go. And there's more that we'll see in Aswan as well. And there's more that we'll see even before we come back to the plateau, Abu Sir and Abu Ghurab. But I will, as I'm working within a certain time frame here, we'll speed right back to the Giza Plateau. This is a really stunning aerial view image, and you can see Cairo and Giza here in the background, the city. But here they are, these magnificent pyramids, and we will get to have a visit between the paws of the Sphinx. And this image just gives you a feeling for the incredible experience of being right there with her, being right there at her paws.
You can actually touch her.
Yeah, yes.
And
And
I
there's
would
space
I would
here
do a
between
full
the paws.
presentation of how this at the age of the Sphinx, who we say she is, and how geology now has definitely proven that she's older than is what has been said. We won't go there now, but I'll do a full presentation there, and then you, Jocelyn, will lead the final initiation in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid, and that
Amazing.
is the final initiation.
That
People are
is
never
where
the
we
same
will.
after going inside the Great Pyramid and coming out.
Yes, yes, yes. That is incredibly powerful. So here's the pyramid from the outside, and you really can't appreciate the scale of this until you're there, but this gives you some idea. Like, this is a giant beam.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And people, and so here's the pyramid. It's just absolutely incredible, and we do get to go inside this great pyramid here, first pyramid. Here are some images of what it looks like from inside there. This is the grand gallery where we climb up the stairs to the king's chamber. You can also go down into the subterranean chamber. You can visit the Queen's chamber. There are all 3 chambers that we'll have access to there. This is the box, the granite box inside of the King's chamber. Such an incredibly powerful place. I'm sure you've heard stories about the magical things that happen in there. And we will have a beautiful sound healing and ceremony inside the King's chamber that will be beyond beyond anything you could imagine.
And there's a specific tone, which I have taught O'Teal, the great musician who's going to be coming with you. I will teach it to you too. It actually activates the stone, particularly the granite, and turns it on. And it's an amazing experience. But even if people don't even do that tone, people have done ohms, om, like that. Just before people go into the final meditation, and we'll have them turn the lights off so that you'll do your final 20 minutes, half an hour in total darkness. And I will say to everyone that's listening, I've been on the spiritual path for almost 50, 60 years now. The greatest meditations I've ever had in my life are inside the King's chamber. It's an out of body experience in total darkness, in total silence. It's an incredible experience.
Yes, truly, truly, truly. So we'll leave you with that, everybody, as far as the slides. That's the end of the slideshow, and I hope you all have enjoyed journeying and traveling to Egypt, even as we are just right here on Zoom. Actually, I think I have one more slide that I'll come back to, which is just a reminder about the dates of the tour, this wonderful, incredible experience that we are planning for all of you who feel called to go. And I'll put that link in the chat now as we finish the presentation piece. So thank you all for journeying with us. So we will go to a Q&A in a bit here. Patricia and Stephen, is there anything more that you wanted to say? I, stop talking for a bit and
Well, it's just representative of where we are. I'm in Colorado, you're in Maryland, and Patricia's in Giza. Usually we have an international group that people come from many different countries on the group. And so that's why there will be what we call a group consciousness that will form with the tour, where everybody will look out for everybody else, will move as a group. We tend people, again, I don't want to do this. This will be the introduction when we're on site, but we tell people to stick together as much as possible, and we move as a group, and we become one consciousness as a group, moving together. And people will help each other out, and there'll be all different things that'll happen on the space of the tour, and it's. I mean, if you want us to discuss how safe it is now, we can do that. I mean, there's no better person to talk to about it than Patricia's living there for 17 years, and she can speak better than anyone how Egypt is the safest place in the world to be. There's always a fear people have. I mean, I led tours from 2003 to 2010 during the Iraq War, where people would say, "Oh no, I don't want to go. It's a Muslim country. They may attack us." Never in all my tours, and this will be the 21st tour I'm involved with. This will be my 24th time coming to Egypt. Patricia's been back and forth so many times, more than that, but never has anyone in any group I've been harassed, been attacked by any Egyptian. They love tourists. They're people, as Patricia will say, they're people to people. They love people. They don't. What governments do, they don't attach to people. As an American, you say you're an American, they'll love you. You say you're a Canadian, they'll love you. You say you're Italian, you're German, whatever. They Australian, New Zealand, they will love you. They love everyone. They treat everyone with respect, and it's the safest place to be. There should not be any fear, but anyone listening to come to Egypt. It is the safest place in the world, right, Patricia?
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't be living here if it wasn't. And so many times I've been grateful to be here rather than other places in the world because, nothing changes in Egypt. It's always business as usual, no matter what's happening in the outside world. The Egyptians are a beautiful people. They will tease you. Be aware.
Great sense of humor.
You're gonna be teased at least once.
Great sense of
But
humor.
they do. They have a great sense of humor, and they do love foreigners. They love to hear about our countries. I live here and I come and go anywhere on my own without any sense of fear. Seriously, it is so easy to navigate Egypt. And as Stephen pointed out, I've been here through all kinds of experiences, the uprising. We called it the revolution. That was way back in 2011.
2011.
Yeah. It was the best time to be here. We had groups. Remember, Stephen? We
Yes.
brought groups and we got to go into places in Egypt that, because nobody was here. They just threw us the keys and said,
Exactly.
help
You remember I
yourselves.
came to visit in 2012 when it was just you and me, and we went
Uh-huh.
around, and they were so glad to see us. I have myself posing in Tahrir Square with their flag, and
Yeah.
Egyptians, well, they came to be with me. I mean,
Oh
never
yeah.
ever has
Oh, we
anyone
were
been.
waving, yeah, the Egyptian, yeah, it was, and people were gathering. And the other thing that people miss is they think that the Coptics and the Muslims are always at odds. They're
No,
brother and sister. They
absolutely.
smoke shisha together. They have grown up together. There has
And there's
never,
still Jews living in Egypt, and they're treated
well,
with respect.
yes. And foreigners treated with respect. I have
Right,
always been, treated with respect and felt safe and yeah, it's just amazing. I never am worried about anything that's going on in the world,
right.
other than everyone is, there are things happening everywhere in the world, but the thing I've always liked to point it out in the last 17 years is I have felt safer in Egypt than
Yes,
I have felt anywhere that I lived in the United States.
absolutely.
Simply because of the religion here, there is so little crime, violent crime. Oh, there might be
Exactly,
pickpockets here and there. Don't put your wallet in your back pocket. And they'll tell you that in any country when you're traveling.
exactly.
But major crime, violent crime, it is so rare. So yeah, no, I go anywhere at night. I literally I can't say enough about how safe it is. So, and from the very first time, everyone said to me, um, I'll say this very quickly. Even when I went on tour with you, Stephen, people were saying, "No, you can't go to Egypt. It's
Oh,
not
they say it all
safe."
the time, all the time.
Friends, family, everyone. And
Yep,
if I had listened, because you have that hesitation and you think, "Oh, maybe it isn't," and you go and the one thing we do for you is the minute you get here, there's a company representative there to greet you as you get off your plane and come down toward customs. There's a sign and it has either Horus Rising or your name on it. And they'll take you through customs. They'll take you to get your baggage and take you to the transfer vehicle to brings you to our hotel where you're with us the rest of the journey. And then
exactly,
we take you back to the airport at the end of the journey. So
exactly.
no, it's an amazing experience. And, I would say don't be any more fearful of coming to Egypt than you would going to the shopping center in your own town.
Less than,
Yeah.
Yeah,
less
the first time I came to Egypt was during COVID, and it's such an interesting story. It was 2021.
Yep.
And everybody in the US was in fear, saying, don't get on a plane. What are you crazy? What? You're going to Egypt, right? There's this, it's incredible the fear that is
than.
created around
Mm.
certain scenarios. And there certainly is this whole propaganda when we're in the US or in, similar westernized countries against going to the Middle East. And it's all a lie. It's
That's
all an
right.
illusion because it is so safe there. And so I got on that plane, I flew to Egypt, had the most beautiful time. And when I landed in Egypt and we were walking around in Luxor, nobody was wearing a mask. The
No,
stores were all open, the coffee shops, the
no.
restaurants were open. Everybody was out in the streets having their beautiful normal day, hugging each other in the streets, and when I came from
You were
US, we weren't allowed
fortunate
to
because
hug each other.
probably the temple
I
sites,
was,
temple sites were probably empty. You had a great experience.
It
You
was
probably had
well,
amazing.
more
That's where
fun because it wasn't
yeah,
big crowds.
there were
there
no,
Yeah.
were, I had tours all throughout, beginning in 2020. I
Wow.
had tours, smaller groups to begin with, but in October of 2021, we had 55 people on a tour.
Wow. That's great.
And it was marvelous. We did not. I was so fortunate to be here. I'm just going to say that nothing shut down. People did wear masks. It was supposedly mandatory, but so many of us were not required. The malls never shut down. They did make you put the mask on, but I'd pull mine down because
Yeah.
to me, I'm not comfortable with it. And there
We need
again, I opened my senses, looked out my window, and said, "Nothing's happening here." I know it was in the rest of the world. I don't want to deny what people went through. But here, I asked doctors, I asked the pharmacists, we really didn't experience anything until tourists started coming back full force. And by that time, it wasn't as serious as it was everywhere else. But
Yeah, so
I
and other
I was
times I've been to Egypt too. I just so wholeheartedly agree. I feel so safe every time I'm there, and every time I don't want to leave, every time I want to stay
mhm.
here.
when I
And
first started coming to Egypt, it was the peak time. I can tell you that Hakim did a tour with Barbara Hand Clow in 1995 where they had 125 people. I've been on tours where there was 60 people, 40 people. We did one with Patricia with 42 people, the first one we did in 2013. And never was anybody treated differently. You know, you can talk about what we're going to have on this tour, but I've been in crowds where there were thousands of people at Karnak Temple, and no one was ever hassled. No one was ever bothered.
I see somebody has asked about how many people will be on this tour.
Just for that too.
We, yeah, we are expecting somewhere between maybe 25 and 35 people. It's not going to be, it'll all be on one bus, probably, unless we have a whole lot of people sign
We
up at the
prefer to
last
be on
minute.
one bus. Yes.
I want to point out that art groups bond. I had a tour with 166 people, and we are still communicating today. So many of us, and nobody felt left out. We are not going to have that many people, I promise you.
I
Um,
still I still have friends from all the early tours. We have a friend that was on with you in 2005, Dr. Linda,
yes,
who's still our
yeah,
dear friend and dear friend of my
oh,
wife's. I have
yeah,
friends still contacting me on Facebook that have been 20 years ago with me. I mean,
yeah,
people bond. I mean, I can go into deeper detail. We've had relationships. We've had people come who were married, who then went home and got divorced and married
yeah.
somebody from the tour. I mean, that happens. People fall in love on the tour.
We've had some single people meet and marry as well.
Yes,
No, it is something very special with our tours that I've noticed, and people keep coming back. I've
absolutely.
had people on 5 or 6 of my tours
That's
um,
incredible.
because they just feel so comfortable and relaxed. We take care of you from the very first moment. You get free water on the buses. We're not going to charge you for a bottle of water. We want you to feel safe. We take you to the best restaurants. You don't go to the
Absolutely.
touristy restaurants. Um,
Absolutely.
and we have a team. You're going to have a team with you all the time that's going to help you, with your needs. And
Everything. Everything is
yeah.
taken care of. Everything can be delivered to the hotels. Everything can be delivered to where we're at. You don't even have to
Mhm.
go to a pharmacy. If you need something, you tell one of our people, they get it and it's delivered to your room in the hotel. I mean, it's incredible that everything. I mean, I once, a couple of years ago, the power cord on my computer went out. And when we got to Luxor, one of our guides went and got a power cord for me, and it's still working right now on my computer. I mean, everything can be obtained. There's no problems, and people bring their medicines. If you run out of medicines, it can all be arranged. There, everything is taken care of. We're treated so well. People are going to be amazed how well we're treated. And again, you mentioned the food. That's one of the highlights for me because Egyptian chefs go to Cordon Bleu in France. They go to Germany to learn from the greatest chefs in the world. So the food is unbelievable. It's a highlight for me. I will go off my diet when I'm in Egypt because I don't eat
there
sugar anymore, but in Egypt I will.
there are some questions about mobility. We have Denny asking, wondering if you can go, if you use a cane, and then Branwen is asking, how mobile do you need to be? So what would you say about those
Had
questions?
many people bringing canes, no problem, and we will take our time walking. We leave no one behind. I'm now at the point where I can't do the great walking like I used to do, so I will be slower. And people with age that will take our time. And again, people do not have to do everything. They're paying for the tour. They're paying for what's happening. But if someone wakes up in the morning not feeling well, and we will talk about that more on site, what we call the mummy's tummy, the pharaoh's curse. But if you don't feel well in the morning and you want to stay in the hotel and just go swimming and relax, please do. So no one's obligated to do everything. We're going to do meditations. No one's obligated to do that if they don't want to. But we will keep at a moderate pace. No one's going to be running ahead, and no one's going to be left behind. The slowest walker will be the one that we will be cognizant of, and we will be always sure that we move as a group. No one will be left behind. Everyone can move at their own pace. There is a lot of walking. There will be some climbing. We have to talk about that. We'll talk about that more in detail. That if people are claustrophobic, you have to think about that as far as going into the Great Pyramid and some of the temples and the crypts at Dendera. But we will talk about that in detail on site and let everybody know that they do not have to do everything. Everybody's will be taken care of. Everybody's needs will be adjusted to. We will walk as a group according to the slowest person in the group. And I will
Yeah,
be one of
I
them.
do want to point out that the temples are all very easy. Oftentimes you can wear sandals if you want to. The Giza Plateau is uneven ground. You probably want to wear good walking shoes. It's a little uneven. Nothing too strenuous. This is so important, except as Stephen pointed out, the pyramids, there's some climbing involved. You're going up stairways and down stairways, and you can go again at your own pace. It's not a rush. You don't. My first time I was the first one in and ran all the way up in like 2 minutes or less. But I certainly wouldn't do that today. And
Me neither.
oftentimes at 67, I mostly sit out the pyramids now.
Me too.
Yeah, yes, you can bring a cane, not a problem, or a walking stick. We've had many people bring them. At the temples, even Karnak is probably where we do the most walking. There are places to sit along the way. There are
Right.
toilets inside the temple.
Right.
There's even a cafe where you can stop and have a drink. So it's not like you're going to be on your feet for a couple hours straight.
From what I
Um,
understand, you know better, Patricia. The new museum has a lot of places for people to sit, and
yes,
add elevators and walkways for older people. So everybody, if you
yeah.
need to sit and rest, we do. We leave nobody behind. If someone is left and want to sit somewhere or we go somewhere else, we'll make sure one of our guides, one of our people with us knows that that person is there. No one will be left behind. No one will be left out.
We are going to connect the group to have a Telegram group that'll be created before the tour begins. And this group, everybody will be, if you don't know how to do it before you get here, we'll get you on at the introductory meeting. But inside this group, it's online. So if you have your phone with you and you're lost, just say, I'm here and I don't know how to
That's a
find my
great
way
idea.
back.
That's a great
Um,
idea.
it's a place where we will exchange information before the tour. We can exchange pictures. We can share more information and links and things like that. If we decide to change the schedule, we can say, hey, everybody, we're going to let you sleep in an extra hour, or, we're going to go here for lunch, or wear these shoes tomorrow. So it's
Great.
a wonderful place where we're always connected. And most of our groups, almost all of them, everybody is still interacting with each other years after
Looking
the
out for each
tours
other. Looking out
and
for each.
meeting up all over the world. So
Yes.
yeah.
And I'm going to tell people that they can video, that I give permission and I want people to video me because this may be my last appearance in Egypt. And so people with their phones or even want to bring a video camera, that's perfect. We can video because it's priceless to keep a record of all these things. And like Patricia said, we all exchange pictures. We take pictures of each other and people get online, Facebook or Instagram, whatever, and exchange pictures.
Whoops, I was muted. Okay, somebody was saying, Dominique says, I have a question about the food. Some of my friends just came back from Egypt and they said the food is not good. And this is what Patricia and Stephen were just mentioning. We take you to the really good restaurants. You will not
I
have that
can't
issue
believe
on this
somebody said
tour.
that.
We have relationships with the restaurants. We know which ones are really good. As with
And,
any
I just
country
want
that
to
you go,
let me
as
just
with
add.
any country. Okay, go ahead.
No, I am vegan. And so if anybody's vegan or vegetarian, we will be accommodated when we go to restaurants. It's in the hotels, it's buffet. When we're at a buffet, everybody goes for themselves. But when we go to a restaurant, we'll say all the vegetarians, vegans, sit with me. It helps them to serve. Patricia is gluten-free. Everyone who wants to be gluten-free, sit with
And dairy
Patricia.
free. Yeah.
And dairy-free. So I can't believe somebody said they came back and the food wasn't good. I don't know where they ate, unless they ate in some really way out of the place
Well, there
restaurant.
are some out of the way restaurants or touristy restaurants that the food isn't the same as the places. We've been treating you so well for years, Stephen. You don't know. But yeah, we are very particular with where we take you to have a meal. You're gonna love
Right.
it.
And that's the same with anywhere you might travel. There are good restaurants and there are places you don't want to go. And so your friend may have gone to some of the places that don't have as good food, or maybe, had a stomach issue after a
Yeah,
restaurant.
we'll
But
talk about the
kind of
warning signs of the
things that
Pharaoh's curse to
are-
Mummy's tummy. We'll talk about it when we're there. It's easy to know in advance if something has happened, and we have the medicines I've always carried with us that can knock it out. I've had it many times, different cases of it. I've seen many people have really bad cases, but it's parasites.
Not so much
But
anymore, Stephen.
it's
We
great.
don't see we might get a little irritation, but
Right.
you like Stephen said, we have the cure,
Right.
and we carry it, absolutely have it with us. So
Right.
because we don't want you to miss anything.
No.
You've come way
And
too
the warning
far.
the warning signs are easy to know
Yes.
before it starts to come on. And you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes I have gotten colds in Egypt because air conditioning sometimes is some if you're not used to being in air conditioning all the time or sleeping with air conditioning at night, sometimes you get a cold. But we'll have vitamin C. We'll have all the things with us if people come down with colds. And it's one of the reasons we don't like to do boats anymore because the air conditioning's so bad on the boats. But uh, uh, you know,
So
I've got colds at times because I'm not used to sleeping at night in air conditioning, but we do in Egypt because of the heat.
That's a good thing that you pointed out. We're not taking the cruise, but you will have opportunities to go on Felucca, to be
Oh
on the
yeah,
Nile.
oh yeah.
But the reason we don't do the cruise, and Jocelyn will back me up on this, it is so crowded today with tourists that when you're on the boats, there's so many boats on the river. First, there's way too much exhaust. But when you get to the temples like Edfu and Kamumbo, and you're there, all the boats go at the exact same time. So
Exactly,
you're often walking through 10 to 12 boats to get to the shore. You've got
exactly,
just like an hour and 20 minutes to get to the temple and then out again. So you don't get to enjoy the temple because you're crowded. You're so crowded with people that you can't even see the things that the speakers, we the speakers, will be telling you about.
exactly
If
right.
you go by bus, we
take the
get
boat.
there
Yes. We get there.
at
We can
the
plan the bus to be at the
When
exact
the
time
boats are not there.
at, at
when
the food
nobody's there.
we're Yep.
When Teresa and I went in 2023, we went we had Edfu and Kamumbo totally to ourselves because we
Yeah,
went at the times when the boats are not there. And that's what we
exactly.
prefer. We prefer to be at the temples, as Karnak we can't avoid, but we go as much as we can when other groups are not there. We know the
Yeah.
times.
Yes, exactly. Aaron is asking, are meals included in the price? So Aaron, if you go to the itinerary and you look at the itinerary day by day, it will tell you which meals are included. Breakfast is pretty much always included, and then we will include lunch on some days and dinner on some days, depending on where we'll be. And I will
Correct.
say it's actually a really good routine with the eating, because we tend to have an amazing, huge breakfast at the buffet at the hotel. And then we will have a late lunch. We'll have like a mid-afternoon lunch most days. And
There's
then you
so
don't
much
need,
food.
yeah, that's a lot of food in 2 meals, and you don't need a dinner, or maybe you have a very light dinner if you really want to.
Exactly. Just
But
soup or something,
usually you
right?
don't need any more. And it's
Right.
actually, with all the walking, everybody tends to lose a little weight. I know I always lose a little weight on the tours because we're actually eating a lot, but we're walking it all off, and it's only 2 meals a day, not 3 meals a day. So it's a really good, healthy routine that we get into on the.
Excellent point. I always tell people power up at breakfast.
Mhm.
Power up at
Yeah.
breakfast because you will walk it off in the daytime. And the buffets are great at the
And
hotels.
bring snacks. Sorry, Stephen. Bring
Sure.
snacks. If
Yeah.
you have dietary requirements, you're gluten-free or dairy-free or vegan, bring your favorite snack bars. Bring some things you can have on the bus rides or to supplement your lunch if you're not getting what you feel you think is a good vegetarian lunch. We do the best we can. The
Exactly.
hotels all have great foods, but sometimes, like when we're at Abydos, we're limited because it's a small village to
Right.
what they serve us. bring snacks. We provide snacks. I mean, fruits and dates and chips and, everything on the
I always
buses.
bring trail mix. I always bring trail mix, which is a
Smart.
great, you get your
Yeah.
protein from it if you got nuts and everything. So yeah,
Now, as far
I will look out for all the vegetarians.
Now, as far as signing up for the tour, we want to let you know that we are going to have a call. We're going to have a couple of Zoom calls before the tour happens. We're going to have one on July 25th. We're going to have another one in early September. So if you're going to join, you want to be on these Zoom calls. Okay, so I would strongly recommend you want to sign up before July 25th, first of all, because we're going to bring the whole group together. And Stephen and Patricia and I are going to join you on a call that's only for those who are registered and signed up for the tour. We're going to talk about all the logistics that you need to know, booking your flight, what clothes to pack, what to bring, tipping, what kind of currency everything, all these kind of questions that you'll want to know and be prepared for. And we'll also have a Q&A for those who are signed up and registered, so that you can get your questions answered and figure out your logistics and everything. Now that's happening on July 25th. So that's one date that I would strongly recommend if you know you want to be on this tour, sign up by the 23rd or so, so we can get you all the details for the July 25th Zoom call and you can be on that call. And also, I just want to say the tour is filling quickly. We already have more than 25 people signed up. We can allow, 30 to 35, as Patricia was saying. So you want to get your registration in soon. So if you go to that link, and I'll put it in the chat one more time, you can go and send in your registration form. That's the first step. We will not ask you for the deposit yet when you send in the registration form, but as soon as you send it in, then we'll get back to you in an email with the details to send your $1,000 deposit. And that deposit is what holds your space. It secures your space on the tour. So your space is not saved until we get your deposit. But the first step is just sending in that registration form, then we'll get you the deposit info. So if you want to be on that call July 25th, where we're going to share all the logistical information, the group will come together for the first time, which is really special. We'll all get to start meeting one another. We'll meet all of you as guests on the tour. Be sure to sign up really soon. And we have a final registration closing date of August 8th. But the tour may fill before then. We may get enough people that we might have to close registration before August 8th. So don't wait. Don't wait till the last minute. Yeah. Just a couple date considerations for you all to keep in mind. And
Somebody,
Janice is,
somebody,
oh, go
somebody
ahead.
just asked how far the hotel is from the airport.
Depends on what day and time you arrive.
But everyone will be picked
Be
up. They don't have
45
to
minutes,
worry
it can
about
be an
getting to the
hour,
hotel
it can be
on
an
their
hour
own.
and a half if there's a lot of traffic, but usually it's kind
Yeah.
of plan on an hour
Yeah,
usually.
yeah.
It's not bad, and yeah, it's a nice ride, air-conditioned vehicle.
And the
Nobody's
hotel
ever
is 11
complained.
miles from the Giza Plateau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone will be picked up. They do not worry about having to get to their hotel on their own. There will be somebody
Yeah.
with a sign with your name on it. We'll say select travel or whatever, or Kemet school, and everyone will be picked up and everyone will be brought to the airport when they leave. No one has to worry about doing it on their own.
And don't forget, if you don't see somebody with the sign, you have the Telegram group. You can actually say, "Hey, I'm at the airport. Where's my connection?"
That is a
Um,
great idea, Patricia. Great
yeah.
idea.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
we're
you
all
can
connected.
email, but it's so much easier to just Telegram. We're all on it so that we can alert those people that need to know.
Great
Um,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah, one question we get a lot is my flight gets in at 3 a.m. or my flight gets in at 1:30 a.m. Will there still be someone to pick me up? And the answer is yes, we have an
Yes,
amazing team. They're there at all hours of the day and night. They will pick up every single person in the
yes,
group.
yes,
That's
yes.
right.
Egypt Air coming from New York comes into Cairo sometimes 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. We were there. Someone was there to pick my wife and I up. No problem. No matter what, they're there
Absolutely.
24. Again, Cairo never sleeps. It's like New York. It's open
That is true.
24 hours, and they work 24 hours. So there'll always be someone there to pick you up.
Absolutely. And if you want to come a day early or stay a day late, a lot of people come a day early so they can ground themselves a bit before the tour begins.
I probably
Um,
will.
that transfer is included. Doesn't matter when you come. And we can assist you with the room that night. Some people know people here, so they want to stay wherever they want to. We will transfer you there. You get one transfer included, and you would just need another transfer to the hotel, which we can provide. I think they do charge a fee for that, but we'll help you out. Once you have the contact, and my administrative manager is Menna, and she's fabulous. She's wonderful. She will stay in touch with you and make sure all your needs are met. So you'll meet her. You'll hear from her. She's the one who will respond to your registration form.
That's great. And
Yeah,
the people that will be
everyone on the
the people that will be assisting us are the sweetest people in the world, because Patricia has chosen them, and chosen them because of her years of experience. So we will have sweet, wonderful people that will be assisting us throughout the trip.
at every step. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it really is, you are so well taken care of, as Patricia was saying. I just saw another itinerary from someone else, and they said they're going to give each guest 1 bottle of water a day. And it's, like, that's crazy. You need more than 1 bottle of water. You get
At
as much
least, are you
water as you
kidding?
need on our tour. So it's little things like
Sometimes the
that.
hotel, sometimes I don't know if the Hyatt does that, but I know at the Mena House they have 2 bottles of water every morning for you. I mean, when they make up your room, they give you.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if our hotels do that, but usually,
All of our hotels will do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
you
So
get
there'll be,
water in the hotel, you get water when you get on the bus, you get water when you
there'll
get
be
off
a
the
big
bus.
cooler on every bus that's and have ice water, cold water for everybody. Everybody
Yeah.
gets bottles of water.
Yep.
The details that count.
Well, having been on a tour myself, my thought was, what if somebody asked me, how would you make the tour better? And I'd say, well, don't charge us for the water. We get on the bus and you're looking for your change so you can buy it, and holding everybody up. Water should be flowing because you can dehydrate so quickly in a dry climate. So
Right.
no, just the little things that I recognize that, we can make this better. And the guest is always our top priority. With Stephen and Jocelyn and me, you guys are our top priority.
Absolutely.
We want you to have the experience of a lifetime. And it's not us who actually provides that. It will be Egypt.
Egypt.
But we help with some extras along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Mm.
Well, I know we're getting close to our time here. So everybody, thank you for your questions in the chat. It's so helpful to hear what you're thinking and respond to your questions. And Janice, as far as clothing recommendations, layers, and we'll
Yeah.
talk a lot more about that on July 25th, because that's just especially important for those who are definitely going. But yeah, we're so
Everybody bring a
excited.
bathing suit.
Yeah, you should. Lots of pools at every hotel. Yes,
Every
absolutely.
hotel.
We're just so excited to be bringing this to you all, and can't wait to see those of you who are called and are ready to go. Thank you, Patricia, and thank you, Stephen, so much for being
Yes.
on here today and sharing your wisdom and creating this amazing experience for everybody. Thank you so much for all that you both do.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Mm.
Yeah. All right. Well, lots of love to everybody out there. And we hope to see you soon in Egypt. It's not that far away. It's not that far till October. So
Oh. Stephen's ready.
I'm ready. I've been ready. Since you first said we do a tour, I'm ready.
yeah, that is something about Egypt. I always can't wait to go back. As soon as one trip is done, I can't wait to go back. This will be my 7th one. So
Great.
Yeah.
7's a lucky number too. Great number.
wow, truly.
That's right.
Okay,
I was born on the 7th.
Mhm.
Well, much love to all of you out there. Hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Masalam.